Yo, welcome back to my channel. This might offend some of you, but what if I told you your sales team wasn't the problem, you are? My name is Imaj Barra, and I help companies scale from 7 figures to 8 figures through client retention, operations, and sales. And for today's video, I'm going to be going over how to manage and run your sales team. One of the big questions I constantly get is, my team is not performing. Why are they not performing? My team is not hitting KPIs. My team is constantly making excuses. My closers just constantly leaving. Why do you think that is? Well, the reality is you may have just not given them the right tools to win. And this is what I'm going to go over today. So for starters, whenever you want to bring on a closer, the most important part of the process is the ramp up, because the ramp up is when you give them the tools to succeed. The ramp up is basically the first day of them joining on board to the first day they actually start taking calls. Ideally, I like to make this process about 3 weeks just so they can really get clear and get all the information they need so they're fully prepared. The first thing I usually build out is the closer onboarding calendar. It's extremely important to build one out because when you do so, it gives them a step-by-step process on what they need to learn and where they should be by the end of week 1, by the end of week 2, by the end of week 3. So, for example, this was the system for one of the companies that I worked with. Week 1, we made it very, very simple. Monday, again, attend the closer meeting, get set up on the processes and systems that we had set up in our company that they needed, get acclimated with the script. So basically get access to the script, just go through it, play with it, get access to GHL, all the basic stuff. And then as you can see, the process is continuing every single day where we add a little bit more things. One of the also big things I did was I actually created a sales course, which I white labeled to companies that I go to and also for the companies that I built for myself, because it makes our life a lot easier. Because here's the thing, I want my sales team to learn the process based on the way that works for our company. So I'll build out a whole entire module system where basically I teach them the sales 101. And I'll show you guys this later on in the video. But sales 101, setting 101, closing 101, how to deal with objections, and it's all in one course. And that's not the course that goes on it's not about the product, but this is just understanding sales. It takes a little bit more time, and I don't think everybody needs to have it as in-depth as I do, but I promise you it will make their life a lot easier, because a lot of you might have closers that have never closed a day in their life, and you just come in there, you give them your sales script, which is great, but they still don't understand the fundamentals of sales. And if you can teach them the fundamentals of sales, or potentially hire somebody to give you a course that you can use for your company that you can just teach them, it will make your life so much easier. You're doing a lot of the legwork in the beginning, so it allows them to really just focus on really understanding the material and also having the steps and tools they need to actually close these deals when they get on the phones. So as you can see, week 1, very simple, straight to the point. You'll have, like I said, attend closer meetings. I also have some mindset training, practice scripts. They're listening to call recordings consistently. By the end of week 1, I really want them to learn the basics of the closer roadmap and navigate through common objections and take their first live calls. And when I say take their first live calls, I want them to take the really, really crappy leads, because I want to see how they navigate on the crappy leads, and I want them to learn some of the problems they might be experiencing. And again, we're not putting them on the calendar as full-blown closers. We might just throw them a call and be like, all right, go on this call, see how it feels, see how it works. Just get your jitters out. Get comfortable on the phone, and I want to kind of see how they're thinking. Even if they don't have the script dialed down, even if they don't understand the product that well yet, I want to see how they can think on their feet. Then we go into week 2. Week 2 is mostly when we're focusing on kind of call reviews, role plays, kind of getting into the nitty gritty. This is where they have to become an expert at pre-frame, objection handling, and then start potentially even closing some of the crappy deals. Again, like I said, they're not supposed to hit KPI just yet, but if they can hit goals by week 2, amazing. That's what I want. I want to see an individual be able to at least close a deal or be close to closing a deal within the 3 weeks. Because what that shows me is it shows me promise. And ideally, these are the standards that we want to set for them to really, really succeed. Because again, remember, you're doing call reviews every single day. You're doing role plays. You are consistently on them. And again, I want you to micromanage the first 3 weeks, because the process, you want to instill trust in them, but they also need to instill trust in you that you can allow them to get on these phones and do well. And then by week 3, you start setting projections, daily check-ins to stay on track. And if they hit their first 10K day, depending again on your offer. This is what we had. And ideally for the offer that I was on when we were working on this, it made sense because the offer was very, very simple to sell. They just needed to understand the process and the leads were very, very hot. So it worked out. But what I'm trying to show you is everything was mapped out. It was broken step by step. And they can even go in there and even check it to see exactly where they are. So, and then also it gave you an idea of what they did and what they didn't do. So that's just step one on getting them ramped up. Like this is just the bare minimum. And this is where a lot of people fail. They don't even have this, which blows my mind. And they expect their closers to crush when in reality they never gave them the right tools to win. Okay. Then you have your sales script. This is the framework that I use for my sales script. I actually took this framework from Taki Moore. Taki Moore is one of the best coaches for coaches. Shout out Taki. This man changed my life, especially early on in my career. But basically, I like this because it's very simple. All right. And if you noticed, I don't really ask all the questions that are supposed to be in these blocks. And the reason for that is because I want them to learn how to think for themselves, especially when a closer's ramping up. I want them to get creative in the questions they ask. So let's say like if you're in a situation where it's like the gap, like what are your goals in terms of your coaching business? What do you want? Like I want them to be able to think around that. Like what are questions that you would ask if somebody's in the gap? Like what's your big goal? What do you want to do? What's the point of you being on this call? And at that point, just getting that foundation will be enough for them to build out the whole process. I'm not going to go over the whole entire script, but basically this is very simple. It's one page. This is for the setters. Makes your life very, very easy, simple, qualifies them. Then you go into the closer format. Again, this is a little bit more in depth. I have a lot more questions in here. But again, I want you to understand the foundation and why you are asking these questions. It's significantly more important. And again, now when people see this, they're not overwhelmed. And again, this might not apply for everybody because obviously some offers and some products might have compliance. So there are specific questions you have to ask and your script might be a little bit longer. But ideally, for the most part, this script has made me millions of dollars. It's been proven time and time again, it works. And as you can see, like I said, it breaks down everything: building quick rapport, framing the call, motivation, why they're here, results, what do they want, reality, where they're at, what's stopping them from getting there, biggest value you get out of that call. This is kind of where you're pre-framing the sell. And these are the 3 questions where you dive into the sell. Now, this is where you break down the whole entire pitch, the biggest problems they're experiencing, what's the outcome of your product, what's the model you use. This is where you talk about the pillars, like if you have pillar 1, pillar 2, pillar 3, whatever it is, logistics, in terms of like how long will it take to get to fulfillment? What's needed? Like how many hours do I need a week? What do you need from me, etc., depending on your offer. And then the price. Like I said, I'll go over this in a later video, but for now, just kind of seeing the process and like how simplified it is. And this is what you want to give your closers. And then one thing I also added in here that I think has been incredible is for the problem and prescription, it's very, very important that if you have a lot of data around your offer, it's very important to write down every problem that your client might have. Obviously, you'll get a couple of wild cards where they're just completely like curveballs that you won't know how to deal with. But the point of this is you want to show people everything they're going to run into. Like, let's say you're getting you're a lead vendor and you want to get people leads. Big problem they have is they don't know how to build funnels. They don't have a good marketing channel. They're not clear on their offer. And then basically you write that in, and then you basically talk about the impact that creates. So let's say if they don't know how to build funnels, it's going to waste their energy, their time, money trying to do it themselves, etc. What they need is a done for you. And this is the product we worked with before, where they do a done for you. So what you're doing is you're finding the product, you're finding how much it's impacting them, and then you're giving them a solution associated with your product. And this solution will then give the solution to this. This is an example. But when you do this, then when the closer is studying the material, they can just go through this whole process and understand exactly what problems are going to come up. And when they do, then they know how to react to it. And then they're not completely thrown off guard. Because I can't tell you how many times closers come into a call and there's just questions that they're asked that they just don't know how to deal with. And again, obviously there's wild cards thrown there, but there's also a lot of questions that are very straightforward and that are consistently asked. So it's like, if you know them and you know they're going to come up, why not just put them there and make the closer's life easier? I know you want to learn, and I know some of you might want them to learn through the fire, but give them the tools to win. Because imagine if you gave them all these tools, they had all these questions, that they closed the first couple of deals. Instead of having to go through the first couple of calls, learn the hard way, and then close deals. I don't know. You could be better as a leader, in my opinion. And then for me also, like one of the big things I do is build out sales course. So if you notice right here, this is my personal sales course where I go over like module 1, module 2, and the breakdown is like the simple breakdown of sales. Like, what is sales? Abundance versus scarcity, law of detachment, setter versus closer. Like, I'm breaking down the foundation. And I basically, when I go into companies and I consult, I would white label this course, because I wouldn't then have to teach them from the beginning. I don't want to keep doing calls over and over again. So what I did is I just recorded this whole entire framework, and I have them do it for their homework. As soon as I come in, every closer has to go through this and learn it. If there's obviously savage closers, I don't really make them do it. But if somebody's coming in and they're ramping up, they have to go through it. It's mandatory. And I also built out a sales training playbook, which basically takes all my information and literally, as you can see right here, everything step by step. This goes through everything. And then the videos are just going back and actually breaking down that sales training. So again, as you can see, I'm very detailed, very detail oriented, and I have a lot of information that I throw out there. And the reason for that is because I want to really help them understand the foundation. Once they have all these steps, then the ramp up process becomes significantly easier for them. And this right now is just really focusing on like how to set your team up to succeed. All right. There's obviously like how to run meetings, how to do call reviews, which I'll go over in later videos. But for now, the foundation is get them a closer onboarding pathway or like a template, have a sales script, and then potentially have some modules for them to go through so they can learn sales and they can learn how your company runs. Also, in this situation, like have call recordings. The more call recordings you have, the better. And you want call recordings for every single problem. So like if you have a call recording for a spousal objection, a call recording for financial objection, a call recording for think about it objection. You want to do a lot of role plays. Just role plays are really good, and just throw different experiences and scenarios at them so they can, one, learn it through the role play instead of actually learning it through the call. And the more repetition. Obviously, when they do their first couple of calls, do a lot of call reviews. I want you to be very micromanaging. In 90 days, I always say micromanage for the first 90 days. And then after that, let them on their own. I know it might sound like a lot, but it'll be worth it. And obviously, sometimes you'll get closers that just aren't. They're just struggling to understand. They're not responding well. They're not asking questions, and they're still failing. And at that point, it's like you've done everything you can do, especially if you've given them all the stuff. Now it's kind of a problem. And in that situation, I say like you should know if a closer is going to crush within 45 days. 45 days is the right point to be like, all right, this person is going to do well. 30 days is like ideal, but if you're confused by 30 days, then the answer is usually no. Like you should just see how their energy is, how they're showing up. So in terms of the first steps, this is all you really need. Obviously, it might be different if you have a different offer with like a little bit more complexities, but it's your job to give them all the tools and be as detailed as possible, just like this. The more detailed you are, the less work you have to do. My philosophy is I always try to delegate myself out of a role in 3 months. All right, how can I get in and then replace myself right away? And if you learn that philosophy, I promise your whole life will completely change around running businesses. And you get a lot more free time, and then you also start building leaders. So for that, that's all I have for today. Like, share, subscribe, please. Follow for more information. I'm going to be throwing videos like this all the time. I appreciate all of you. I love all of you. I'm really happy you guys are supporting me on this journey. And let's build something great together. Later, y'all.